Welcome to the Life Giving Leader Podcast. Well, hello, all my good Life Giving Leader friends. Good to hear, see, connect with you again today on the Life Giving Leader Podcast. And this is a special one. This is really fun. And I'm starting to think you're not going to believe me when I say that, but I really am an encourager. And so I tend to think hopeful, and I tend to get excited, get overexcited, get overly excited. See, I'm trying to work this out even as I'm talking. But great episode today with Brad Montague of Kid President and Soul Pancake fame. And just a longtime friend who might be one of the most kind and creative people I know. And so for those of you who are listening, who are artists, who are painters, who are creatives, who are writers, and those of you who are accountants, you're going to love this conversation with Brad. He just brings so much hope and so much fun to the table. And so I'm really glad we get to have that today. Next week, John Acuff will be on the Life Giving Leader podcast, and it also is wrapping up this first season. I'm not really going to change seasons, but the first kind of run of podcasts, and then we're going to go every other week after that, and I'll keep you posted on who's coming up and where that's going. So excited about what's coming up, guys. Thanks for being loyal listeners. I would love to kind of figure out a way to push and get some new people a part of this thing. I think we've had a faithful following, a good core, and then we'll just start building it from there. So I'm really grateful to you guys who are listening every week and downloading, and I hope it's helpful in some way. And then the next few weeks, I'm just teasing this. I've been teasing it for a while now. But me and a friend of mine are going to jump on here. We're going to give you some insights on what we feel God's calling us to do and build, and ways that we can serve the kingdom together. So I'll keep you you're in the dark right now, but we're going to slowly let a little bit of light in, like Cody Carnes says on his new song, "Let the light in." That's not actually how it goes, but if it did, that would be awesome. A couple things to let you know about. I have officially brought my golf handicap back from 4 to 3.9, so we're making progress there. Had a pretty good round going the other day, and I was 2 over through 15, and then I had a bogey on 16 and 18, which were par 5s, and I hit good shots, so it was a little frustrating. But, being frustrated with the 76 is, I don't know if that's naive or arrogant, but I think it was fair because I really had a great round going. So anyway, I'll keep you posted on that. Glad you're really caring about that. Again, if you like this podcast, if you're creative, if you're also a leader and you want to get other people involved and so you can have some conversations around this, please connect them to the Life Giving Leader podcast. That'd be awesome. So again, John Acuff's coming up, but I want to tell you a little bit of what all I'm thinking about right now, just as a leader, some of the things that are stirring in me. I really sense that there's about to be a wave of burnout and fear and insecurity. I know a lot are already dealing with that, but in the ministry, specifically in pastor world, COVID is just wreaking havoc on workflows, office hours, healthy leadership boundaries, on furloughing people, on budget craziness, on when do we go back, when do we not? Oh, we went back and now we shut it down. Like, it's just crazy. And I really believe that coming out of that is going to be a season of burnout, a season of desperately needing friendship. And so leaders, if you're listening, one of the things that I just want to say to you and encourage you and push you to is please, please, please never, but specifically in this season, isolate yourself from others. You've got to have friends. And I want to encourage you, if you're a pastor, don't let all of your friend basket be filled with people in your church. You need friends outside of your church who you can talk openly about. So give me a call if you need to talk. If you don't want to be isolated, we'll figure it out. So anyway, grateful for that. And speaking of friendship, this episode was with Brad Montague. Brad and I met at Catalyst years ago. We talked about this a little bit, and he's going to give you the story of Kid President. If you don't remember Kid President, his little brother, Robby, they created this whole thing called Kid President, and he literally would talk about if you're a kid and you were the president, this is what I would do. And they created these YouTube videos that got picked up by Soul Pancake, and they met ridiculous famous people because they were being interviewed by Kid President, and it was awesome. So I think you're going to love this. It's going to put joy and a smile on your face. And I'm grateful I get to share my friend Brad Montague with you on the Life Giving Leader podcast. Well, welcome back to the Life Giving Leader podcast. And today, this is going to be really fun because this is not going to be your normal podcast. We're going to get a little creative in this conversation because I have a longtime friend. Gosh, Brad, we've known each other a long time, but Brad Montague is on the I don't even have a name for the line yet, Brad. Should I come up with something?
You could call, I've heard they say the phone, on the horn, on the screen.
All of those are great options.
Yes. Phone.
So Brad is with me. Brad and I met, it's probably been 6 or 7, maybe even longer than that, years ago, when Kid President was kind of taking over the world by storm. And Brad, that's his brother. And it's your little brother, right, Robby?
Yes. Yeah.
So Brad would come to Catalyst and we got to know each other then. And then he's just continued to do crazy, cool, creative things. So Brad, thank you for being a part of the podcast.
Thanks for having a podcast.
It's kind of fun, isn't it? Just get to do your own thing.
We just talk and people hear it. It's little voice messages in a bottle. People open up.
So for those who don't know you, Brad, and maybe don't even know Kid President, maybe back us up a little bit and give us a little bit of how Brad got to where he is today.
Yeah. Well, I was a guy trying to figure out what to do with my weirdness and never knew what to do. And thankfully I had a few people in my path, like, 4th grade teacher who said, hey, you're good at this. You should, you're not just the weird kid in class. This actually has value. And always forgetting that. But then getting into news, I worked in a newsroom for a while and yet still felt like these aren't the stories I want to tell, and I'm not the right person to tell these stories. And just constantly feeling like these aren't the shoes that I'm meant to wear. Like, is there something that fits right? And when I started working with young people and asking the question, how can I be who I needed when I was a kid? It unlocked a lot of possibilities. It unlocked my voice. I discovered, what I was really passionate about. And so we'd created like a camp program that was for young people who wanted to change the world. And that was a playground of possibility. I suddenly was not at a lack for ideas because I was constantly seeing challenges in the world and seeing kids' creativity meeting it and matching it and showing up to do something really incredible around it. And then saying, I've got to share these stories. I want other people to know this. And Kid President grew out of that, of me wanting to create something to encourage those kids and then to encourage their parents and people in their orbit to actually listen to kids. Yeah. So I was just like, every week I'll put out a video. And then that's where that came from.
And then after, so Robby's gotten a little older now. He's not exactly Kid President anymore. But back to that moment though, were you looking around outside externally going, what could I do? And then all of a sudden you look over and you've got one of the most little charismatic, amazing people right next to you. Did it, I'm sure it went down just like that, right?
I always wish that I could tell people that I'm really strategic and I had mapped out a journey that would lead to meeting Beyonce and working with Steve Martin and all this stuff.
Steve Martin's really my dad's favorite comedian of all time. All time.
I could still memorize those records, the Wild and Crazy Guy.
Yeah, me too.
Incredible. And then to be, in a setting where you're interviewing him with a tin can phone, pretending to be a child, and then editing it to where there's a kid, those interviews were always so fascinating because it would be me on Skype with them or in person, and then we would edit it like they do on the Daily Show or whatever to feel like it's this kid. So then I could set the kid up to where he was in power and he could do it. And Steve Martin was a total blast to do with, but I kept thinking, how did I get here? Like, how is this? If you could tell me as a kid that I'd be talking to him, I would have not believed you. And to concoct a plan to get there would have been impossible. But there's one phrase that I think embodies most people that I see do work that resonates with me, or that I see and they're in a spot where they're leading, is a guided drift.
Yeah.
And that came from Joanne Rogers said that that's what Fred Rogers' life was. Because I was thinking, oh, he had it all figured out. Like, he knew this is what I'm going to do. But essentially, she told me he made a lot of mistakes that, oh, I'm going to go in ministry. No, not really. It's not ministry like normal. It's going to be for children. Oh, it's not just going to be like a normal kids show. Then it was a guided drift. Every single spot prepared him for the next spot. And, we can all probably look back and see that we have been uniquely prepared for the spot we're in. And so what I'm trying to do now is be hyper aware of that and realize that all of the failed TV shows that I've worked on, all of these things are not battle wounds that just make me limp or make me shy and insecure. Instead, these are things that, I know how not to do it now. I know. Oh, now I've learned that I can now work here. I worked in marketing for a while, and in which I would tell other people's stories, and it just had this thing bubbling up inside me where I didn't just want to tell their stories. I had all this other stuff I wanted to do. But while I was doing that, I was learning so much about communicating an idea and what didn't work and what really would. And then working in a setting where then you're at YouTube and they said, hey, we'd like you to do 3 minutes a week. And I had been in settings where I was doing hours of content every day. And so that was a place where suddenly I could take everything I'd learned before, apply it through this new canvas of creating a YouTube video every week. And then now where I'm at, that has prepared me in ways I could have never imagined. Of how to communicate with people, what resonates, what doesn't, and what is in my voice and what isn't.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So before we move on from that, who was one or two of the people that you were just like, Steve Martin sounds like one of them. What's another one you were like, I honestly cannot believe this is happening right now?
There were so many of those where you're going, oh, wow.
And of course, Robby didn't know who any of these people are. He's like, what?
Here we are in the Oval Office, and there's President Obama. And,
unbelievable.
And, we're supposed to act like this is normal. And
it's everything but.
Yeah, right. And I think one of the great things is that a lot of people ask, about who is your favorite celebrity that you worked with or whatever. And what I discovered is that every single person was so kind,
of course,
and so human, and that like we're with Tom Hanks, and he had a little bit of a cold, and he was just a guy.
Right. That's Tom Hanks you're talking about, though, Brad.
Right. But there he was, and there was a moment where we're in the UN building, and there is the Secretary General, and he is so nervous, and he was so nervous because he was going to be interviewed by a child.
Yeah.
And I loved that because he had done things that I could never do. And has worked with people and done so much. But to talk to a 9-year-old was
scary.
Yeah.
I'd say, Brad, that phrase that you mentioned just a minute ago, guided drift, like it's really resonating with me right now. And I also love what you said too about just I think that's probably why I started this podcast too, is I wanted an outlet for me. I think for 20 years, one of the reasons I've gone out and done my own thing now is I've always curated for everybody else. And I've continued to sense that God was calling me to do some different things in my own world, my own family, different things. But that guided part, I love it because it's an intentional drift. I go fly fishing. I don't know if you've been up to Refuge, but fly fishing in Montana, and the boats are literally called drift boats. But we have guides who are they're getting us in the right spot. We're trusting the river; it's moving us down. There's if you want to go against it, it's hard work. But when they know how to guide us to the right spots, and yet we're still moving. There's this thing, and I don't know. I'm going to think about that for a while because I do feel like I've been living that out. And even since I left Catalyst, it feels like where I thought I was going to, like where my guided is, it started moving over to the right and to the left a little bit. Yes, and so that's a beautiful thing. But let me ask you this question, because this is called Life Giving Leader Podcast. It's something I'm passionate about, of bringing life to people. You are a hope dealer and you are a life giver. You always have been. Every time we were in the room together, I was a better person for it. And so I'm thankful for that. When you hear that phrase, a life-giving leader, what's one or two things that come to mind for you that would be an attribute of someone like that?
I think about, do you remember the book, The Secret Garden? The Secret Garden, this spot where there's some leaders who create an atmosphere where there's not an environment for growth. It's cold, it's empty. And there's some who open the door to this garden of possibility where everybody comes alive. And, I think about people that did that for me. And I always go back to moments, like at summer camp or at counselors that as an awkward kid, that they would look at me and go, no, man, you're funny. And we like you, and would suddenly see value in me that I didn't see, and speak things into me that I had not heard before. Yeah. And I got to visit classrooms all over the US, and it's interesting because when you visit schools, you can tell within the first second what the classroom is going to be like, because you start out in the office and you meet the office staff, and there's always a different culture there, right? And within the moment of sign in, I can tell you how the kids are going to be, because if the adults have given up, the kids have too. Fact. But if I go in a school and there is this just exuberance, this hope, you can feel it. It's sometimes it's rarely spoken. It's just there. Yeah. And then you go in the classroom, and instead of it being a classroom, it is this runway for kids to thrive. I love that. That's a really good example, because that's it, man. It's attractive, right? It draws people in versus repels them. It's a beautiful thing. And I think, I know one of the things I've always respected about you, Brad, is in your creative thinking, you've brought life. I've never seen you post something that wasn't built in hope. Like, you know what I mean? And I know probably you feel like, that was a miss, or this and that and the other, but that's just, you literally deal in it. Like and granted, some of that, I think probably most of it for both you and I comes from comes from a thing that's deep down in us. Can you talk for a second about how faith is integrated into your storytelling and into your creativity? Yeah. I mean, I think one thing that is a challenge is a lot of times people will talk about, oh, you're so positive, or, oh, you Soul Pancake makes positive content. And that was not really the intention. Positivity is this thing that is like a bubble that can pop. Yeah. But hope comes from, an anchored place, a rooted place. And if you are a creator with faith as your lens, you have an imagination beyond all imaginations. Your job is to reimagine what's possible all the time, because you're not rooted in the now and what's happy and positive and rainbows and cupcakes. Instead, there's a fierce hope, a hope that has teeth, a hope that no matter what's happening around, you can tell a story of what is possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd never want to put a blind eye, turn a blind eye to hurt or pain or challenges. I always want to acknowledge those and point towards joy and how you can dance through all difficulty.
Yeah.
That
for me, I became a believer late in high school. And one of the things I've said since then was one of the things that separates believers oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes from those who don't have that anchor is hope. Like it's just, and you and I, like even as we're recording, we're in the middle of this coronavirus, COVID-19, unprecedented scenario. Mm-hmm. And yet it's in these seasons that I think the church is thriving right now. The church is exploding. The front door to the church it's off. There's no front door anymore. You don't have to get in your car and go find it. Mm-hmm. And so many people are at home. So they're living on YouTube and social media and all these other places, which is where you've spent a lot of your career. If you were to give advice to young leaders or leaders in general who are trying to really, I'm going to ratchet it up, I'm going to really start going after this online presence, what's one encouragement you would say of what's great about it, but what's one pitfall that you would encourage them to avoid?
Mm-hmm. I would, for one massive thing is always authenticity, always honest authenticity. That doesn't, YouTube sent out a thing to a lot of their creators a while back of, this is stuff that resonates. This is media that people are wanting. And they gave some suggestions based on, past successes, but even they can't judge what will really connect with people content-wise. But the one thing they know for sure is that being a person, fully themselves, mm-hmm. Is always more compelling than the most polished content.
Yep.
And there's something about us as people that we're hungry to connect.
Yeah.
And so for me, that has been encouraging and also a challenge, because it is not easy to share yourself.
Yeah.
But what's been helpful to me, as we were creating Kid President, you'd have all these incoming transmissions that are on every single comment would be something about, whether it was the script or how I framed a shot or just whatever happened that day. They would just post comments. And sometimes they would really get under my skin.
Sure.
The positive ones, they'd be encouraging for a moment, but those hurtful ones would stick. And I can still remember the usernames and of these things. And it got to a really harmful place for me, because that would hurt.
Yeah.
And so I had to start this practice of, whoever the comment was from, of remembering that's just a human being who wants to be loved. Yeah. So if it is somebody who is saying something nice, that's so encouraging. That's great. But they're just a human being who wants to be loved. Somebody who says something that's totally false and hurtful about me or the way I look or whatever, they're just a human being who wants to be loved.
Right.
And as I did that, I began to even see myself that way.
That's great.
Okay. And it reframed it as, okay, I'm not making this for their love.
Yeah.
I'm making this from love.
Yeah.
I'm making this from a place of love that I just want to share. And sometimes it'll resonate, sometimes it won't.
I think, Brad, one of the other things I admire about you is you're just a great artist. Like, you really are. Like, the drawings and the different ways you've built and created, even when you did Kid President, and like in the videos, the creative versions of signs and different things that you would do. Have you always loved art? Is art always been something that you've just been naturally good at? Was it encouraged,
I've always loved it, but never felt like I was good enough for it.
Yeah.
And so I was always hesitant to embrace it. And even now, my Instagram says a doodler. Like I don't want to. Like I'm not.
You just can't. I can't say artist. Like, I'm a doodler.
Not claiming it. And I think where I landed is my desire to share an idea was so strong that it didn't matter how well executed it was.
Yeah.
I just had to share it.
Yeah.
In the same way, I think about some of my favorite songs, some of my favorite pieces of art. They've had missed notes, or they were a little off. They just were honest. They just, somebody shared it. And so even if it's messy, they shared it. So I've tried to like let my desire to share and communicate something outweigh my fear of doing it.
Yeah.
And so that's where it comes from.
Do you have one or two, like, where do you go to be inspired? Like, if maybe it's a person, maybe how do you continue to foster creativity in your own work and in your own space?
I mean, there's always those answers, people will say nature, just walking in nature. And I feel like I'm supposed to say that. Well, if you say
nature right now, I'm hanging it up. Like, forget it.
I feel like I'm supposed to say that. I do love nature.
Me too.
Big fan of nature.
Me and nature, we're tight. Like, we're in.
Yeah, I love it. But there are all those sources of inspiration. But I've been trying to learn that it is an active habit that you have to be in, of saying, whatever comes across my path, I'm going to respond creatively to it.
That's great.
So that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to make a painting or make a film, but it does mean I want to celebrate this. I want to notice things and celebrate them. I think as a person of faith, we can be co-creators with God of celebrating the things that we see and reflecting those things back in ways that are almost stutters, not necessarily full expressions of goodness, but they're at least trying.
Right.
And so I think the people that just keep showing up and keep trying, that's what inspires me.
Yeah, it's like Stephen Pressfield in The War of Art talking about, you just got to be in the arena, right? Like, right. That's a big piece of it.
And I've tried not to be, when I was working on the book, I had found that I'd been writing for every day for several years and hadn't realized it, that it had just been a thing that I was doing, and it wasn't, okay, I'm going to get this many words. Okay, it was in notebooks on my phone. It was an expression that just kept coming out.
That was the opposite of my book experience. I had not been writing, which was part of the problem. So my 6 months 6 weeks at the end was like cramming for a dissertation or something.
Well, then when I was writing the book, then it was, oh no, I can't edit this. I'm stuck. I wanted to write anything but the book.
Yes, 100%. Well, but you know this too, like, and I'm, again, for me, life-giving leaders lead from their truest self. They've started to understand who they are, how they're wired. My whole career, my whole life, school, I was just seen as a procrastinator, because that really is. But what I've learned as I've gotten older and studied myself and self-awareness and assessments and different things, I'm better in the moment anyway. Now, it will never excuse being late. I'm not late to things. I just procrastinate because it clicks a gear into me that never clicks into gear 6 months ahead of time. It will never. So I've had to learn to work in a system and build some systems to get a little ahead of that click, but also continue to understand, man, if I try to do this outside of my wiring, it's not going to be me, and it's not going to work. And so I'm not going to excuse away being a procrastinator, but I also know I do my best work when I finally click in my brain. This is how pathetic this is. And hopefully my publisher's not listening to this. This thing was due mid-January, and I had 2 chapters written at the beginning of December, and yet still in my mind, I was going, yeah, I'm all right. I got time. This is not,
I got time. I can
it's
do
ridiculous, Brad, ridiculous. What would you say though, to
No, I get
someone,
it.
because you're around creatives a lot too, but we're also around people who would not consider themselves a creative.
Mhm.
What would you say to them? Because I think you and I are probably on the same boat about, I think that's a wrong classification.
For sure. I look at my dad as a farmer,
Yeah.
and would never say he's a creative, and yet he has come up with some of the most ridiculous like solutions to problems using um, uh, string and cardboard, and I'm amazed at what he does and what he's able to make happen, to actually take a seed and grow it
Yeah.
into a plant. And the same with my mother, and the ways in which she takes care of the farm in a way that is different than my dad. She was also a nurse, and the ways that she cared for people was
Right.
wildly creative, because you can't just show up and say, I'm going to do it, follow these directions. If you look, every single person is not just following a rule book of how to be a person every
Totally.
day. Instead, we're in a constant improv.
Yes.
And we think, oh, I'm not good at improvising.
Right.
But literally, that's what you do every
That's
day.
life.
I mean, you're not following a script. You are playing your part, and you're doing a great job.
That's right. That's
Embrace it even more, and realize that you are showing up in a creative way already.
Yeah.
Now, maybe what else do you want to create with that time you have?
Yeah. That's good. That's good, Brad. So, again, we've already talked about this is a weird time in the world. I don't think there's been a better time for a book to come out like yours. So your newest book is called Becoming Better GrownUps. And I love that. I love that, because I love that it's still talking about childhood and how we have to stay in some, have childlike things about us. I went to Onsite. I think, Miles is a friend of yours as well. And I remember the exercise where I'm having to think about 8-year-old Tyler or 7-year-old Tyler and what he loved and what he cared about. And where is that? Is that still within me? And yet great children tend to grow up to be good grownups if they've been fostered in good way. But give us just a little snippet of why you wrote this and really what's the synopsis of it?
Well, I was stuck. I had this project go crazy viral, and then was working on other projects, and they weren't coming out. Nothing was happening. The one place I was continually able to visit were classrooms, and schools were inviting me, not because they wanted anything, but they just had to show me something.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, we watched videos you made, and we made something too. We want you to see it. So all I had to do was show up. And so it was this really gift in the midst of a depression to have people say to you, hey, we just want you to show up. We just like you. And then I realized I had been showing up to schools with the talk, and I was speaking to kids. What if I just showed up and did a listening tour and had kids speak to me? And so I went to, I visited third, fourth, and fifth graders in all 50 states and asked them, what would it mean to grow up well?
Yeah.
How could I be a better grown-up? And they told me.
Yeah.
And so then it didn't start out as a book. It started out as like a life project, like something I needed to do. And then when I saw the looks in kids' eyes as they would share and open up their hearts, I was like, I have to share this too. I need to share this. And then I ended up being able to spend time with people over the age of 100, people who'd actually grown up. And that unlocked so much more for me. It gave me a goalpost, something to work towards. And I want to be a better grown-up. It's a process. So I wrote the book because I wanted to remind myself, my kids, and everybody that growing is not a one-time thing. It's something that we can do daily.
I love it. And if people want to know more about that, like, where's the best place to stay connected with you, but also, I mean, obviously you can get that anywhere books are sold, but like,
yeah, normally you would say wherever books are sold. And then,
okay, so
when
you get it with Amazon. Okay.
whenever you release a book in the midst of every bookstore being closed, you seem like the dumbest person in the world.
Yeah. Or, well, no, you could release a movie. That could be worse.
It's so hard.
I know.
But actually a lot of indie bookstores are selling, they're shipping, or they're doing curbside pickup, which is great. And it's at beabettergrownup.com. You can
That's
see
awesome.
more about it. And then I'm all over.
Okay. So I've got a couple lightning questions for you. Ready for this?
Go.
Number one, best favorite movie of all time.
Okay. I immediately went to E.T.
Oh, what a great movie. Gosh, great movie. What's the best leadership idea that you've had, or that somebody's given you, like advice they've given you that's really helped you in your career?
Oh, this is good. Oh, man. I literally just had a conversation with some, well, one was heart first.
Yeah.
This was in a camp setting.
Yeah.
And it's a former camp director, and he was retiring, and he said, he was always obsessed with other details, but then he was like, wait, heart first. Every camper, think about their heart first.
That's great.
When you speak, heart first, like gratitude, all open with that. And then when you make a decision, he would lead heart first. And
I love that.
I was surprised by that advice, and have held on to it.
That's a great leadership thought. Last piece, if you could only listen to one band, now their entire catalog of music, but only one band for the rest of your life, who's that going to be?
Okay, well, this is getting personal. Yeah. Well, I was going to say Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Not a band, but.
No, it's an artist. That's good.
An artist.
That's a good list right there. I mean, he's got a pretty good catalog.
If he touches all the notes, he gets there. There's just something about.
He's a great dude.
Yeah.
Good choice. I think those were all good choices. Well done.
Okay.
Brad, I sincerely mean this, and I know we haven't seen each other in a while, but you've always really brought life to me when I've been around you. And I follow you on social because when I see a Brad post come up, I read it every time because I know it's going to offer some creativity and some hope to the things that are my favorite things in the world. And so I'm super thankful for you, Brad, and thanks for being a part.
Thank you. I will say I'm sorry that you had a lightning round and I was so slow.
No, that was your lightning round. That's if you were wondering. That was you being fast.
Well, let me tell you. Yeah, so sorry.
It's awesome. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brad. See why I love him so much? I mean, you could see that from that conversation. He's the kindest guy. I swear. His tone and everything just speaks kindness and hope. And I'm so thankful for that. And if you want to pick up Brad's latest book, Becoming Better GrownUps, you can do that anywhere books are sold. Follow him at Brad Montague. And you can go to montagueworkshop.com to keep up with all the latest with Brad. He can have him speak. You can have him do some consulting, whatever that looks like for you. And I just love him. And I really wish that we had a world and a church filled with more Brad Montagues. He is, to me, a life-giving leader to the fullest. He just brings life. And what I love is he's very open about dealing with struggles and those kind of things. But those struggles and those seasons that were hard and those darknesses that he overcame and fought through in the same ways that I have, in the same ways that you go through, all of those things were built and he continued to do life-giving leadership. He continued to love people around him. He continued to try to bring hope even when he was fighting through that faith element in season himself. And so that's my encouragement to those of you who are fighting through a season right now. As Lisa Turker says, feelings are indicators, not dictators. We want to proclaim what's true. We want to be truth, filled with truth and grace, and do that even in the seasons where we don't feel like it. And so my encouragement is, if you're in a season right now that you don't feel like it, find some friends, try to figure out a way to grow closer to the Lord, and continue to bring hope and life and truth to people, even in the seasons that might be hard for you. And that's what life-giving leaders are all about. So next week, John Acuff, another hope-filled speaker and communicator and author, and I can't wait to share that conversation with you. Thanks for being a great listener. Thanks for being a life-giving leader, and we'll see you next week.